So hi everyone, welcome back to the educational series. So after you watch the talent planning video, so let's move on to next. Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk about how would the student experience with AIESEC looks like through our MRD process. So before that, I just want to ask you a bit of your opinion. So what are your impression toward this company? So what's the difference between Google and Top Glove? Okay, so what are the common impression gathered from internets that I have, my friends, and then this is what people were thinking about, these two different companies. So in Google, people think that it's an adult playground. Think about their company culture, it's fun, it's hard to get in, and it's a big company. So what people think about Top Glove is Big Four for engineers, is you will get high paid salary, but the work culture is very stressful and is with very strong chemicals environment and is very suitable for fresh grads. Okay, so in that, if you look into the common impressions gathered, this is the same like AIESEC. So imagine if the people that join your company or people that join the organization, they would be the advocates in the end for the organization or company. So this is what I found from the website based on they have like this thing called companies review, and you can actually see like how well they are going to recommend to a friend and like approve of CEO and also like who's their CEO. So if you look at it generally, you can see a very clear trend that people was talking that people would more likely to recommend this working experience to a friend, and for Top Gloves, maybe only 47% of them would be. Okay, so this is what students will experience with AIESEC. So if you think about it in a longer term perspective, recruitment doesn't serve only one purpose. Is for us to it's definitely serve the purpose. Okay, the main purpose is to recruit the right people at the right time at the right place. But the thing about it is that in a marketing perspective or in an organizational perspective, is that it's also more than that. It's not only just only like to take care of just to take care of the end outcome, but at the same time you have to take care of students' experience, because that eventually would be what people will come back to us. Word of mouth, simple as that. If you're listening to a VPOGV, you always hear that, and that's how generally people work, like human beings work, or at least like Malaysian youth works. Okay, people trust more on the friend's recommendation. People trust more on the power of words. Okay, so that's why the questions that I think we can ask ourselves is also to understand what differentiate a brand that people like and a brand that people are dedicated to. Okay, so how can you ensure that your business is providing an experience worthy of having people dedicated to? So that would definitely be one. Like maybe like for example, you would like tea life, for example, you would like cha time. So but why are people more dedicated to tea life instead of cha time? For example, okay, just an example. So that's why if you look at if you search on internet for Sarah Niana, I hope that I didn't pronounce it wrongly. So it's the same with your products team. Okay, how to create a better customer experience in 5 steps. So for your product team, you have 5 different steps. To create a better customer experience. So here, I just want to take it as a metaphor for us to review how we are actually doing in the whole MRD process. Okay, so again, it's about our brand presence, it's about our how can we make sure that AIESEC as a brand amongst the students, it can be nicely promoted, one thing. Second thing is that how can we make sure that it doesn't backfire us one day when we really need people to join AIESEC. Okay, so first thing is definitely if you look at the cycle, it will be establish, identify, engage, evaluate, and refine. Okay, so the first step, establish a strategy, create objectives, and inform your team. So this is more of the product understanding part. Like for example, strategies, objective, implementation, and communicate. So these are like the questions that you can ask, like what does your company can do to provide a customer experience that stands out, or what are the key objectives for carrying out these ideas. So at the same time is that what can we do to accomplish this new customer strategy. So how can we communicate to all people in the team, not just team leaders. So in AIESEC context, I put it in a way that leadership development through practical and challenging environment definitely is what we can provide, and to provide a team experience that can develop our people professionally and personally. This is what we always advocate for, and this would still always be the main message that we are trying to deliver in MRD itself. Okay, so implementation is what? So, and also who do you need to communicate it with or inform? Okay, basically it's the whole LC members, because you want people to be very consistent in delivering the message. Okay, otherwise is that in the EB team, you say that you want to strive for excellence. Like I want to have people who are willing to learn and are willing to challenge themselves. And maybe another way, later maybe your members get the wrong idea, and then your members will go out and tell the friends that, hey, do you want to join AIESEC because we have a lot of international exposure. So it's not wrong, but it's just that it's misaligned, okay, to the main message that you're trying to deliver. So it's definitely not healthy for your customers, because they will be pretty much confused, and you'll be recruiting different people with different ideas into the organization. So it's a bit of talent attraction, but I just want to show you a different perspective on how it relates eventually to all. Okay, so second stage, identify. So if you look at the label, it's about market research. So identify, anticipate the needs of customers, visualize your brand from a customer's perspective. So usually what it takes is that all the assessment process that you have to make, like all the network membership call that you have to do. So this is basically a process where, you know, like you take in your perspective of customers, like to understand like how do your members look, think about AIESEC, see about AIESEC, and how their parents think about AIESEC, how their friends think about AIESEC. And at the same time is that if you are in your universities, definitely you will have a lot of competitors, like why people choose AIESEC instead of like the Chinese club, or what else, the students councils, like why do people choose AIESEC. So there's definitely a unique selling point, and you just need to figure out what is that, and it will be very easy for you to sell based on that. Okay, but definitely take note on that is that when you're thinking about the selling point, it has to be aligned to the national selling point, like personal development, learn and lead. Okay, so another thing is that what you can do is also collect customer feedback to also understand what were the unfulfilled needs, and also why people stay in AIESEC, like what are the things that we didn't manage to address. Okay, and also anticipate the needs, and then to understand like customers want to feel understood and valued, and when they do, a good customer experience will return to be an outstanding one. So this is more like what we can provide to fulfill, to relieve their pain maybe. Okay, so if you still remember like your pain and gain, your value proposition canvas, this is one of the way that you can do it as well. So nationally is that I'm going to release one national perspective on how it looks like for value proposition canvas, but these are things that you can refer to if you want to customize or localize it into your local level. Look it out for different canvases and also assessments that you can do to make sure that you understand your stakeholders and understand your competitors before carrying out the whole thing. So this would be definitely part of talent attraction process. But if you refer to the flow that I mentioned just now, is part of the process. Okay, so talent attraction definitely would be under here, identify. Okay, so yeah. So for next is engage with customer or consistently view each customer as individual and establish a relationship. So as I mentioned here, it would be a steps partly from talent attraction, also until talent onboarding. Okay, so before that part will be more on market research, and before that will be product understandings. So in this stage, engage is for the whole MRD process. Okay, get process. So what does it mean is that there's three elements. First is to make sure that we have consistent engagement, so that in customers conversation that it will be talking about grasping your attention of your customer, and so that through consistent engagement. So what does it look like actually for us is that the questions that we can ask definitely is that what are the SOP for engagement and digital and physical touch points, and we have to recognize them as individuals. So through which way that we are doing it definitely is if you recall it back, definitely is the one-to-one space that we have in talent onboarding, and even if before that, how we are customizing the message that we send to them, and during at every stages of the MRD process. So for example, in feedback, interview assessment process, after that, how do we personalize the feedback that we have after the sessions ended? So so the last element would be build relationship. It's also about how can we develop and grow a relationship with our customers so that they will be more likely to remember our brand. So in this scenario is not only remembering our brand, but also be inducted and be onboarded with us. So it's a lot on definitely onboarding touch points that we would have. So other than that, it's also to personalize your communication message with the applicants throughout the process, so that they will feel that we are like they are not talking to robots, but they are talking to we are talking to every specific individuals. Okay, so and also at every touch points, how can we make sure that at the same time we are trying to portray a very professional image, but never take out the elements of being approachable. So this is definitely how it is, and also I think for consistent engagement is also to make sure how can we consistently showcase the same behaviors and values for all AIESECers. Like you don't want people to see AIESECers like AIESECer A's to be people who are very professional, but AIESECers B people who are being very rude or very disrespectful towards lecturers, for example, like lecturers. So that can be how you are actually portraying AIESEC as a brand in even not an AIESEC occasion. Okay, it's very much like role modeling, like how can we shape our membership to be more conscious about their actions, because whatever that they do, they portray AIESEC as a brand. Okay, so if you look at from members' perspective, how it looks like is that they would definitely know about AIESEC through all these channels. Like if it's induction night, it would AIESEC night, it would be there. It would be through digital marketing. It would be word of mouth. So after that, they will go through your booth, or maybe they would go through your bazaar, friends, and information for get to know more about AIESEC. So then, if they are curious about it, they wanted to know more about it, usually they would be part of the process of application, and then they will go through the whole selection process. So usually this is the part that people will be very engaged, because they are very excited to get to know more about AIESEC, and also people are more curious at this point. So then next will be adaptation. So it's more like after they are being very curious and excited about it, and after they are being selected, how can you make sure that they adopt to the organizational culture and also the team culture, or in the team environment during this period of time. So it will be entirely about the onboarding process. And last one, when they want to give us commitment, is when they pass through all the stages. Okay, so after they pass the probation, definitely they will be giving their full commitment for changes that happen to them. So this is also one of the cycle that if you refer to change management, it will be exactly the same. Okay, so if I put it in a change management context into a member's journey, then you can see how can we, from the stage of awareness, help them to be at the stage of giving commitment. Okay, so for example, I can be aware of a brand. For example, I like to drink milk tea. Okay, but how can I, from being aware of a brand to being committed to a brand? Like what makes me to choose only this brand, to give commitment to only this brand? So that's in terms of product purchasing, but it will be similar for experience commitment as well. Okay, so just that in these stages, you definitely need to put more effort in understanding, like for example, to making sure that your environments are good, your team leaders are knowing well about what are their jobs and their roles as team leaders, what kind of team environment or members experience that everyone wants to very aligned in wanting to provide to your team members, your newbies. Okay, So the last two steps would be evaluate. So it isn't much, it's much more on the process that we will always do, is that evaluate your strategy, track your progress, make necessary changes. So the usual one, measure, track, and improvise. So to understand like what are the things that we can do to make sure that we can keep on tracking the effectiveness of the strategies and does the objectives being achieved. So these are the measurement that you can take. You have to understand that sometimes the measurement of effectiveness of GET process will always measure in a bigger MOS. So, but in the closer, definitely the closer way that we can track is that how their performance are doing, how's their engagement status, potential, NPS, career progression, and how to improvise is definitely to take action from the survey output to improve the experience of members. So last stage would be refine. So refine your strategies as business change, keep up the trends, and continue to innovate. So when your business changes, which means if your product grows a lot, for example, Utah, your IGV was growing crazily in this in summer peak. So are you going to achieve the same growth in winter peak? Is that a yes or is that a no? Like, are your business going to scale up or down? So it's something that you can look into if your products are growing or dropping, because it definitely would affect your membership experience. So then you have to adjust it definitely to make sure that your members' experience will be being taken care of based on the needs that you need to have in your organization. And also get updates for it is that to also stay, this is more like their perspective on stay on current customer service trend. But for me, it's also to understand what do your members' needs change? Are they still the same? So what attract them now? Like it's also to identify more on like what do your members need right now. So maybe previously people might need more on technical skills, like professional or functional skills development, but maybe for now what members need the most is soft skills development. It might be a very different things that they are looking for. These are the things that we have to get updates for. Okay, so that would be it for the first part of like to put things into framework. How would it be translated? So one thing to mention is that for our assessment process, we are recruiting based on two elements. Okay, so I hope that you will still remember about it. So first thing is value and behavior based selection. So we want to get the right people in our organization, and also to understand through that people who are staying, if they are cultural aligned and value, their behaviors and values are more aligned, they are more likely to stay. These are the people who are more likely to stay. So you can have people who are very competent, but they are not staying because they don't feel like this organization is a place where they stay, where they can be at. Okay, so second elements that we are having in our whole assessment process is competencies-based selection. So the idea is to get the right people in the right function who know what it means to provide high quality care and support to our customers. So if you look into competencies-based selection, it's more technical and also skill-based selection. So the idea of it is that these are the people that are able to, once you are recruited them, they are the people who are able to provide high quality jobs, quality of jobs, I think. Yeah, high quality of jobs and also support to our customers. So imagine you have recruited, let me think, okay, take an example. So for example, you have recruited people who are very good at marketing. Okay, I think marketing is not a very good example. So let me think about it. So, but it's the same, okay? So for example, people who are very good at coordination, okay? Take it as a soft skill. So very competent in terms of coordinating stuff or finding sponsorships, for example. People are very good at sales. People are very good at finding sponsorship, and then you are recruiting them in your project team. Okay? In your project team, it can be your OGV team or it can be your IGV team to find sponsorships. It can be your PD for IGV team as well. Okay? So if you have that person in the team, this person will help you to take care of the end objective of the job. So eventually, who would be the one benefits from the process would be your customers. So imagine if your IGV team will get sponsorship, full sponsorship, because these members are capable to do so, maybe you can have like 0 APV reduction. Yeah? Yes. Yes, okay. So, okay, so competencies-based selection is to make sure that we can provide care and support, high quality care and support to our customers. It's also one of the way that we show that we are more customers centric and we are customer obsessed. And then for value-based wise and behavior-based selection is more on getting ensuring that we would keep the right people in the organization. Okay, you do definitely, like for example, like you can have people who are very very competent but they are not aligned in terms of behavior and value, but at the same time you can have people who are very aligned in value and behavior but they are not competent. So if you want to talk about like whether we can get this perfect person, we can definitely get it. So therefore the thing about it is that yeah, so it's all rely on what kind of message that we send out in the beginning of the touch points that we have with the members, and also how are we portraying or setting an expectation throughout the assessment process. So just a quick start. So all these elements will be is going to be integrated into the assessment process. So this time what we do differently is that we are going to have task-based assessment, and or you can call it as a group assessment. Okay, so to better judge or to better assess how people are actually doing in a team context, how they are actually behaving in the presence of other people, or how do they play a role in a team context, and at the same time is that how are they being portraying as how competent are they in terms of the functional skills. Okay, so I guess that's all. Thank you very much, peeps. So definitely look into the next process would be your assessment center talent, like this would be part of your talent selection process, assessment center 1.0. So make sure that you look into the details and the technical flow about like how to carry out and also and so on. Okay, yep, thanks peeps, bye.